We last saw Asta manage to land a blow on Veto, who inspects his wound and realizes he cannot heal his injuries, as his healing magic is being negated by Asta's Demon Dweller sword. Finral and Vanessa's masterful manipulation of Asta throughout the air proves to be a difficult hurdle for Veto, who seemingly cannot keep up. Although Asta manages to inflict another wound, it is too shallow and the pair realize that they must bring him closer to do any real damage. Meanwhile, Ghosh and Gray have yet to recover their magic. Meanwhile, Charmy prepares a meal and tells them to eat. As the Black Bulls facing Veto continue their assault, Veto has gotten used to their attack patterns and manages to scratch Asta. Yami warns them that the same attack won't work anymore. They all must surpass their limits here and now, and after hearing their captain's words, they reply with a resounding yes sir. Vanessa and Finral amp up their magic casting and they both reflect on how far they've come. Vanessa was once trapped in a cage by the Queen of Witches, and although she resigned herself to her fate, she realizes that all along she just lacked courage, the same courage Asta is showing her now. She yells at Asta, telling him she's about to go even faster. We then discover that Finral was the firstborn son of the illustrious Vaude family, a clan of spatial magic users. However, due to his poor magical ability, his father favored his younger brother called Langris, who was his better. Ostracized by his own family, Finral ran away to join the Black Bulls. Lacking confidence in his own abilities, Yami reminds him that he has his own way of fighting, and Finral yells at Asta to trust him as he quickens his pace. Despite their bravado, both Veto and the Black Bulls know they are approaching the limits of their magical output. As Veto tries to strike back, he is hit by a reflect ray as Ghosh, Gray, and Charmy have come to their rescue. Ghosh uses a volley of reflect rays to kick up dirt, Charmy summons her giant sheep, and Gray summons several clones of Asta, all to distract Veto. Veto grows irritated at their resistance, but Asta bursts through a portal, stabbing Veto. Asta's strike finds its mark and they think they've won, but Veto reveals this was all part of his plan. He proceeds to crush Asta, breaking one of his arms in the process. The Black Bulls look on in horror as their greatest chance at beating Veto falls to his knees. Veto laughs and tells them to despair, but Asta remains defiant. The Black Bulls are galvanized by his display of courage and they regain their fighting spirit. Vanessa pulls him out of harm's way and Veto gives chase, but he is struck by a reflect ray and a water blast. Vanessa supports Asta's broken limb with her threads and they prepare for another counterattack. As they begin their assault anew, Veto realizes he cannot track his movements due to the Demon Slayer sword still inside him. He pulls it out, swatting Asta out of the air. He moves to finish the job but is unnerved when he sees a dark energy envelop Asta, which he recognizes as that of a demon. Asta unleashes a barrage of slashes with Vanessa and Finral's help before dealing the final decisive strike, knocking Veto out. The Black Bulls celebrate their victory as Vanessa and Finral embrace the exhausted Asta. Noel is complimented as well, and when Asta pats her on the head, she becomes flustered and shoves him away. An unconscious Veto recalls a memory of him and licked regarding an injured bird and had considered him the personification of hope. He then remembers their suffering at the hands of humans and he regains his magic. Veto means to self-destruct, destroying the temple and killing everyone within. The Black Bulls realize this was the same blast that the magic captains once desperately tried to stop. Asta encourages them to fight back, reigniting their will. Then suddenly Yami appears, having gone beyond his limits in destroying the spatial magic. He praises his squad mates for their hard work and reassures them that he will take care of this. He unleashes his dark cloak dimension slash, piercing through the very dimension itself, taking out Veto for good. The Black Bulls rush to praise their captain except for Ghosh, who just wants to see Marie. Jifso kneels and thanks them for saving the underwater temple. Yami asks for the stone, but Jifso is unaware what he is referring to. Nero returns with the magic stone in his beak and Yami retrieves it. Yami praises the squad once more, who begin falling one by one as they're exhausted. The Midnight Sun mourn Veto's death and Fauna swears that she will never forgive them. The Black Bulls recuperate in a hospital bed where, after exchanging some friendly banter, they notice a crowd has gathered outside cheering them on. Meanwhile, Noel visits Kahono and Kayato, apologizing that she was unable to protect her voice. Using her magic, she tells Noel that her voice will eventually heal, and Noel Pinky promises to attend her concert one day. As she leaves, Kayato has fallen for Noel and asks his sister to introduce him. Asta, who has now broken both his arms, runs into Yami, paying respects to the fallen Veto. Asta lays down some flowers he had found and reflects that even though Veto was undeniably evil, he can't help but think that they too had something important to fight for. Asta remembers his promise with Yuno and resolves to be even stronger. The following day, the Black Bulls bid farewell to the underwater temple, and to their surprise, Kahono begins singing and the rest of the citizens join in. The Black Bulls depart with the Song of the Sea ringing true behind them, bringing this chapter of their journey to a close. The Black Bulls settle in their base, where they realize that they'd forgotten to bring Gordon along, who is sulking at being left behind. Yami brings Finral, Asta, and Charmy, who has 4 of the Midnight Sun prisoners, to report to Julius. As they leave, Asta remarks that a stone Nero found at Saucy Village is similar to a magic stone. They teleport near the castle while Finral to stay behind in town. Julius is impressed with their work and informs them that he has sent Beto to be autopsied, while the other prisoners will soon be interrogated. While Julius praises Charmy for her powerful restraining magic, Yami hands over the magic stone. Suddenly, Marx communicates that Chiton, a city on the border with the Diamond Kingdom, is under attack. Troubled by this news, Julius notices that this is no ordinary border skirmish. The attack is being led by Lagus, Brox, and Yegos, 3 of the 8 Shining Generals, the equivalent of the Clover Kingdom's magic captains. The generals remark that Chiton is in a strategic location and capturing it will prove to be advantageous in the future. Ragus uses his lightning magic and disables the city's magic barrier, and Brox mounts his clay boar, smashing through the walls, and chaos erupts in the city as the defenders are slain in droves. Although the situation is dire, the Golden Dawn arrives with Vangeance himself making an appearance. Brox is amused that they would only send a single squad to defend the city, but Yuno blows him away. Sylph remarks that Yuno will never make friends if he never smiles. Julius has no reinforcements to spare and Yami volunteers to go. Although he denies Asta's request to join on account of his injuries, Charmy says he will keep an eye on him, but in truth, she just wants to see Yuno. They go off in search of Finral, who is still flirting with girls. Vangeance tells Langris that they will make the Diamond Kingdom regret ever attacking their country. Yami interrupts Finral while he tries to flirt with girls and strong-arms him into creating a portal to Chiton. Yuno faces off against Brox, who is surprised at his power. Ragus arrives a few moments later to offer his assistance, but Brox has none of it. Ragus fires off a volley of lightning bolts, but Yuno uses Sylph's wind magic to not only fire back his own arrows, however he manages to penetrate Ragus' defensive barrier. Hiding in the shadows, Lotus cannot believe Yuno has gotten even stronger. The Golden Dawn continues their desperate defense of the city, but Yegos uses his slime magic to keep them at bay. Langris arrives and uses his spatial magic to rip out Yegos' magic and his arm, causing immense collateral damage in the process. Lotus notices Vangeance casting a powerful spell and notices that it is sucking up the magic of those in the city. He tries to warn the generals, but they are too busy bickering over who gets to fight Yuno. Vangeance activates his magic, World Tree, Nesteltine, summoning an enormous tree whose branches capture nearly the entire Diamond Kingdom army. The Black Bulls arrive at Chiton, and Asta is awestruck by the massive tree, which Yami identifies as Vangeance's magic. He instructs Asta and Charmy to tend to the townsfolk while he has a chat with the Golden Dawn captain. Brox is enraged that the army was annihilated and he leaves to seek out vengeance, while Ragus is left behind to engage Yuno. Ragus is in disbelief that he, a shining general, is being pushed back. He attempts to fight back, but Yuno finishes him off with a single strike. Yuno lands next to Asta and comments on his injuries, but says he doesn't plan to lose to him. Klaus and Mimosa soon arrive and exchange greetings with Asta, but they soon leave to tend to continue their operations. Brox finally finds Vangeance and attempts to crush him, but he is defeated with a single spell. Lotus arrives and attempts a sneak attack, however Yami comes to his defense and Lotus is forced to retreat. Yami turns to Vangeance and asks him to remove his mask, suspecting him of being licked in disguise. Asta and Yuno chat happily together and Sylph angrily asks who this shrimp is. Yuno replies that they used to live, sleep, and bathe together. Charmy appears and gives Yuno a snack which attracts the ire of Sylph. The two begin fighting over Yuno's affections and Charmy chases Sylph around. Finral teleports next to them and introduced to Yuno.